RFK Jr. just banned a ton of chemicals and dyes in our food, and today we're going to talk through how this is going to affect things like your MREs, your Chow, where these foods are, and what you can expect to change, as well as the fact that a lot of us old heads have just been stuffing this stuff down our throat for years, and what medical issues might come as a result of this. Some of you may relate to this while serving in the military. For me, I was in the Marine Corps, and we did a lot of hikes, specifically like the Crucible, up the Reaper, MCT, ITB training for infantry, actual deployments. And a lot of times you'd go on one of these hikes and get to where they do a halt or whatever, and they're like, drink this, right? Like, do this. We're so worried about your hydration. And they'd like force you to take this freaking Kool-Aid packet of, in the MREs or whatever you've got, and dump it in your water and shake it up because electrolytes good for you, right? And nobody would warn you that it's got all these dyes like red number 40 or yellow this or blue that or whatever that have been linked to things not good for you. For example, red 40 has been directly linked to things like hyperactivity, allergies, and even cancer in some instances. And so here you are, you're dying from this hike, you're super dehydrated, you've got perfectly good water, but now you're told, dump this in, and it becomes the red Kool-Aid man on steroids, like just this neon, just super unhealthy sugary thing because electrolytes are good, and you chug it because that's what you were told to do. And if you stayed in the military long enough, this happened time and time again, where you were in a situation where you were stuffing your face with things from MREs or Chow because it was the only option afforded to you, and you ate it or you didn't eat it all, you drank it or you didn't drink it all. And so we're going to talk through a little bit of what you guys had to deal with, because we were trained to trust the system. We were trained to just do as you're told, do the thing, and no one warns you about things like joint pain, fatigue, fatty liver disease, and all this other crap that can haunt you down the road in your life. You see, in the military, the nutrition advice you get basically boils down to, when you're deployed, more calories is better than less calories, regardless of the quality. And if you're in cold weather training, you get the even more high calorie meals. And if you're in the desert, you get the whatever. And when you're deployed, maybe you're with the Army and you get some of those first strike meals or like the 24-hour MREs or whatever. And so we're prioritizing caloric intake for energy, but it doesn't always mean clean. In fact, because it has to be something that can stay preserved for a long time in a combat zone, we most likely consume more of these nasty dyes and preservatives than almost anybody else. I'm just speculating there, in the country. And they're just not healthy for you, right? Now, as of January of 2025, the FDA officially banned red dye 3, citing cancer as a reason, which is great. And now RFK Jr.'s team is phasing out over 30 other chemicals and additives by 2026. Things like titanium dioxide, which is used in MREs, snack bars, and gum and tied to potential DNA damage. Or brominated vegetable oil, which is used in Mountain Dew and tied to brain damage and linked to neurological issues. And this one I'm going to read because God knows how you say it. Propylparaben, whatever, which is in sauces and baked goods and messes with your hormones. There you've got potential DNA damage, neurological issues, and hormone issues, all of which are not insignificant and things you ate within MREs and Chow. Now, to further break this down, I'm going to run through some common MRE components where you can find these things so you can just be aware of what you're putting in your body and the long-term potential side effects. So FD&C yellow number 5, which is often found in yellow or lemon drinks and candy and bars, is often associated with asthma and other allergic conditions. Now, yellow number 6, which is in orange flavored drinks, orange candies, and some dessert items, is often linked to hyperactivity and potential behavioral side effects. Now, the blue number 1, the brilliant blue, is often found in blue raspberry drinks, candies, and dessert items as well. You can see common trend here. These dyes are usually used in things like drinks, candies, desserts, right? The super vibrant, colorful, sweet stuff that's meant to entice us into cheating on our diet. That one's more of just an allergen concern, not as serious as some of these other ones. Now, blue number 2, which is in baked goods, candies, and a lot of pet foods, is often linked to tumors within animal studies, and so that very well could mean that it has a correlative tumor link for us as well. So green number 3, which is often found in mint-flavored candies and desserts, can be linked to carcinogenic effects. And if you're like me and you just had to Google what that means, carcinogens or carcinogenic is things that can potentially cause cancer, so that's not exactly ideal. And then for red number 3, this is in candy, cherries, baked goods, and snack foods, and this is the one that's already banned by the FDA because of the concerns of how much it's linked to cancer. Another one here is potassium bromate, which is used to help with bread dough and make it more smooth, and this one is quite possibly all over your PX or your Chow Hall, and this one is actually already classified as a human carcinogenic. And again, we already touched on the propylbaron, whatever, brominated vegetable oil and titanium dioxide, all three of which are also most likely going to be found within your Chow Hall and items on the PX. So these are the most common ones. It's those four and all the different dyes that you can just be aware of with a quick scan, and each and every one of these things has a potentially very negative long-term effect that can bother you for a very long time. And you just don't want to be stuffing your face with it. And even if you're being told like, well, this electrolyte is good for you, like there are options such as water with salt that are good for you hydration wise as well and might not give you cancer. Now, the real kicker to all this is that these chemicals are bioaccumulative, which means that they don't just leave. They're going to stay in your body. So you take a little bit in and then you take a little bit more in and then you take a little bit more in. It's not like, you drink a little bit too much booze and the next, 24 hours later, you're great. It's like, hey, you take a little bit too much of this in and then over time, it's going to equal the outcome that you don't want, like cancer or fatty liver disease or whatever. So I just wanted to throw this out there. You don't have to wait for the DoD to block this stuff, right? Like you can be careful and cognitive of what you put in your body. I had no idea when I was drinking these stupid red drinks and yellow drinks and orange drinks and purple drinks and whatever drinks from my MREs that there was a chance that that red drink was going to give me cancer one day. Had I known that, given that they were really not that great anyway, I probably would have steered clear from the red Kool-Aid mix or whatever it is in the MRE, and so now you have that knowledge and you can do the same. Now, I get it, you're exhausted. At the end of a hike or the end of a mission or whatever, like you're probably not wanting to scan and worry about exactly what you put in your body, and I understand that. But you just have to be careful about the effect of not taking that extra second to worry about what goes in your body. Could end up being brain fog, fatigue, you're on 10 prescriptions by the time you're 35, cancer when you're 60 instead of when you're 80, or there's no cancer at all. Like there are potential downsides to this. So thinking for that long term will hopefully allow you to live a much happier and healthier life for a much longer period of time. Look, at the end of the day, you served. You served our country, you served with honor, and you deserve to know the truth about your pay, your benefits, and your food, what you put in your body. You just do. And the Chow Hall shouldn't be some slow-acting hazard you need to be aware of. It should fuel you, not fail you. We can't change the past, but we can absolutely fight for better foods and better quality stuff for our service members and vets, and that's what we're doing. If any of this struck a nerve, I'd love to do a funny experiment where you comment the worst thing that you ever ate in the military, whether it was something you were forced to eat by your drill instructors, or something you had to eat on a deployment, or just whatever. I'm sure there are some pretty ridiculous stories out there. For example, when I went through jungle warfare survival school back in 2009 or 2010, whatever that was, I had to eat. We had goat, we had, I think, a couple chickens, a rabbit, and I was lucky not to draw the straw, but somebody had to eat the rabbit eyeball to show that it was edible and hydrating, whatever. We got to eat the habusaki snake, which is a venomous snake, actually quite tasty, but I'm sure some of that stuff is probably not ideal for you in the long run. Now, it was all natural, it didn't have a whole bunch of dye or seasoning, so maybe it was better, but I don't know. But the habu snake and the rabbit eyeball are probably some of the weirdest things I ever was around that got forced to be eaten in the military. Now, if this video gets enough traction, I will do one where I go deep on the actual people who profit off of the food, like the MREs and whatever that are provided to the military, because I'm kind of curious, if you go down that rabbit hole, how it's tied into the same problems that sugar has, where the sugar was being pushed and it was told that fat was bad and sugar was okay by the sugar industry essentially sponsoring their own health studies. And I'm curious, if we dig down into the rabbit hole of MREs and first strike missions and rations and rippets and whatever, if we end up discovering similar trends. Now, this is the Military Millionaire channel. If you're new here, we help service members, vets achieve financial freedom, and we talk blunt truth, tactical wealth, and how to survive a system that's built to forget you after you move out of the military. So don't let them poison you in silence. Let's start speaking up about better quality food for service members and vets in general. Because let's be real, stirring the poop in Afghanistan, being around the SMOO fire, if you're familiar with that from 2010, all of these other things that were terrible and have me on the lung registry for, potential issues with my lungs down the road, should be the most of my concerns. But if I'm also if I'm over here well, hey, I burned all this crap and I'm gonna get cancer in my lungs from this, but also I ate all this crap and now I might get cancer from this, I'd really just like to know that when I'm 55, I'm gonna be healthy and still kicking so I can keep giving you guys value. So if you got something out of this, subscribe. I love you guys. Have a great day. Let me know if you want more videos like this, as opposed to just the advice I give on your career and your finances. We can add some of these hot topics in as well. Let me know in the comments.